one of the worst moments was in New Zealand, and we were all pretty tanked up.
Mick Fleetwood has always seemed to occupy a singular position in the world of music. Not just the heartbeat of Fleetwood Mac, he's their quiet enigma, the glue holding the often frenzied machine together, whether through turmoil, triumph, or the occasional bizarre tangent involving marching bands. That he's spent more than 5 decades steering the ship of one of the most culturally significant bands of all time, while sitting stoically at the back, providing the rhythmic foundations, is a feat of patience, artistry, and, let's face it, no small amount of chaos management. So when Mick Fleetwood himself selects his favourite Fleetwood Mac songs, the world takes notice.
Now there you go again, you say you want your freedom.
After all, this is a man who's been there for every chord, every spat, and every inspired moment of creation. It's impossible to pick just one, he admits, his voice a mixture of affection and resignation. It's not surprising. Fleetwood Mac's catalogue spans eras, genres, and enough interpersonal drama to fuel a decade's worth of soap operas.
Fortunately, we've got quite a dossier of songs, like a lot of bands that have lasted, you know.
To choose 8 songs is not just a reflection on the music, it's a reflection on the moments, the people, and the strange alchemy that makes Fleetwood Mac what it is. But he did, weaving together a list that traverses the early days of Peter Green's blues brilliance, the shimmering peaks of Rumours, and the experimental highs and occasional oddities of Tusk. Each track tells a story, not just about the band, but about Fleetwood himself, who has seen it all, played it all.
In those years, we almost immediately had really good reaction to the band and success with Peter at the helm.
And somehow emerged on the other side with his passion for music and life intact. The first song on Fleetwood's list is Love That Burns, a deeply emotional blues number from the band's early days, back when Peter Green was at the helm.
Baby, give me your love in return.
Peter kills me, Fleetwood says simply, as though no further explanation is needed. He was my friend, remains a friend, and he started Fleetwood Mac with me in 1967.
And Peter was most definitely the guy that was behind the whole concept of doing it and asked me to be there to play drums.
For Fleetwood, this song is a time capsule, taking him back to when he was a young chap, honing his craft behind one of the most gifted guitarists of his generation. This is me in my full-on training ground, he recalls. When I hear this, it's all about a young chap, me, knowing why Peter was so overjoyed to be playing the music that he loved so much. There's something almost wistful in the way Fleetwood talks about Green. It's not just admiration, it's reverence. Love That Burns is more than a song to him. It's a memory, a reminder of the band's beginnings as a blues outfit finding its feet in London's crowded music scene. The track itself is unvarnished, raw and achingly beautiful, much like the dynamic between Green and Fleetwood in those early days. It's probably almost my favourite song, he says, and you believe him.
But please don't leave me with a love that burns.
If Love That Burns represents the innocence of Fleetwood Mac's early years, Go Your Own Way is its fiery adolescence. The song is arguably the band's most iconic anthem, a searing ode to heartbreak and independence from Rumours, the album that catapulted them into stratospheric fame. For Fleetwood, it's a visceral track, both in its lyrical content and in its physicality. I love playing this song, he says with a grin. I get to kick the hell out of my drums. It's a statement that encapsulates not just the energy of the song, but also its cathartic release, a release not just for the audience, but for the band themselves, who, at the time, were navigating some of the most turbulent relationships imaginable.
Stevie and I had been a couple for a long time. John and Christine McVie had been married. So you had these two couples. By the time we got up to Sausalito to start recording Rumours, Stevie and I although not quite as well defined, were estranged, were not living together. We'd, for all intents and purposes, broken up. John and Christine McVie were divorced.
Lindsay is a full-on rock and roller on this song, Fleetwood continues, his voice tinged with affection for Buckingham's relentless drive. It's got that wonderfully primal part. It's a great let loose stage song in which I can revert to my old animal ways and not be quite so polite. That tension between precision and chaos, order and rebellion runs through Fleetwood Mac's music and, in many ways, defines their enduring appeal. But Fleetwood's list isn't all hits and anthems. It also includes Rattlesnake Shake, a track that harks back to the band's Peter Green era and their roots in blues and improvisation.
Daddy, if you got the rock, I got to be a rocking horse.
For Fleetwood, this song represents freedom. Freedom to experiment, to push boundaries, and to embrace the unexpected. On this song, you hear structure, yes, but you also hear me being incredibly free to break into the shuffle at the end. He says, that moment of spontaneity became a signature of the band's live performances, where the shuffle could stretch on for minutes, even half an hour, transforming the song into a full-fledged jam session. Fleetwood's fondness for Rattlesnake Shake isn't just about the music, it's about the camaraderie, the thrill of discovery, and the sheer joy of creating something in the moment. It was our way of being in the Grateful Dead, he says, laughing. It's a reminder that, even in their early days, Fleetwood Mac was a band that defied easy categorization. The experimental spirit that defined Rattlesnake Shake is also evident in Walk a Thin Line, a track from the Tusk album that Fleetwood describes as one of Lindsey Buckingham's finest moments.
But no one was listening. I walk a thin line.
For Fleetwood, the song holds a special place, not just because of its intricate percussion, but because of the opportunity it gave him to collaborate with musicians from around the world. I redid it for The Visitor, the album I recorded in Africa, he explains. I approached it with a whole ensemble of African musicians, so as a percussion player, I was, as we say in England, like a pig in shit.
The Visitor really is a dream I've had for many years, having travelled fairly extensively in Africa through the years, of being able to not only play with African musicians, but to take musicians, Western musicians if you like, to Africa.
That sense of joy and experimentation is a recurring theme in Fleetwood's career. Whether he's jamming with Peter Green or recording with African musicians, there's a sense of playfulness and curiosity that underpins everything he does. I really loved the song and wished that I'd written it, he admits, his voice tinged with both pride and humility. And then there's Dreams, the Stevie Nicks penned classic that remains Fleetwood Mac's only #1 hit in the United States.
Now here I go again.
For Fleetwood, the song's appeal lies in its simplicity and groove. The intro, I think, is one of those stupidly simple things that came from my love of what I call greasy music, he says, referencing the soulful rhythms of Al Green and the Staple Singers. It has a real feel and it's lazy behind the beat. Stupidly simple, but well thought out. Dreams is more than just a song, it's a cultural phenomenon. Its resurgence on TikTok, thanks to a man skateboarding while drinking cranberry juice, is a testament to its timelessness.
This dude went viral just for cruising along on his skateboard drinking cran-raspberry juice, all the while lip-syncing to Fleetwood Mac.
It's all right, there is some.
The video now has more than 30 million views, with people coast to coast recreating the moment. Even Fleetwood Mac drummer Mick Fleetwood.
It's all right, there is some.
But for Fleetwood, its magic lies in its ability to connect. to draw people in with its greasy rhythm and ethereal vocals. The tempo of the song, I've been finding out, is something that really appeals to drummers, he says. So, I take that as a compliment. If Dreams is ethereal, Oh Daddy is deeply personal. Written by Christine McVie, the song is a tribute to Fleetwood, the only father in the band at the time. Sentimentally, I say this because I didn't know it at the time, but I found out not too long afterwards that the song was actually written about me, Fleetwood reveals. There's a tenderness in his voice as he talks about McVie, whom he describes as a sister.
We're going to be doing something lovely for Christine McVie. She was a huge talent. I'm proud of her, I'm proud of her music, I'm proud of the 50-odd years of playing together.
Christine is truly a great musician and a blues player. The song itself is a slow, bluesy ballad that showcases McVie's ability to write with both simplicity and depth. For Fleetwood, it's a reminder of the bond that has held the band together through decades of change and challenge. I'm a sucker for this one because it really is a structured song, which is so appealing to me as a player, he says. No list of Fleetwood's favourites would be complete without Oh Well, a track that he describes as 2 minutes of madness. It's a song that epitomises the band's early experimentation and Green's genius.
Oh well.
The structures that I was able to put together make it something that is very unique, Fleetwood says. To this day, I get the heebie-jeebies thinking that I'm going to mess it up, which is good because that's the child in me.
Now when I talk to God, I know he'd understand. He said, stick by me and I'll be your guiding hand.
And then there's Tusk, the title track of the band's most experimental album. For Fleetwood, it's a song that encapsulates his love of rhythm and his willingness to take risks. This is Mick Fleetwood gone AWOL, he says, laughing. The track's use of the USC marching band was a stroke of genius, or madness, depending on your perspective. I came back and said, we need to put the USC marching band on this, and everybody thought I was crazy. Of course we did it, and it's become one of the classic Fleetwood Mac songs in concert. In talking about these songs, Mick Fleetwood offers more than just a playlist. He offers a window into his life, his loves, and his enduring passion for music. It's a journey through decades of creativity, chaos, and camaraderie, told with the honesty and humor of a man who has seen it all and still loves every moment. I adore what I do, he says, and really, how could he not?